Trojan family, what is up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyberd. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to our USC coverage. The day all fans have been dreading has arrived. Breaking news, 5-star quarterback Husan Longstreet will enter the transfer portal. I've been saying it's kind of 50-50. It's not an NIL situation. It's really coming down to wanting to start next year. And ultimately, with Jaden Maiava coming back, that was very unlikely. Now, I believe you can believe whatever you want. I believe that, the way Lincoln Riley does coach for the most part is, hey, at least he says this, it's an open competition. Everyone has a chance to compete, and the best players will play. So I believe there would have still been an opportunity for Husan to truly beat out Jaden Maiava. Like, if he was just that much better than Maiava during spring and fall practices, I don't believe Riley wouldn't play him. I mean, Riley knows that he is in a must-win situation. He needs to play the best players and not for any reasons or whatnot. So I believe that's the case. So either him and his staff believe Maiava right now is that much better, or for whatever reason, Husan didn't feel like maybe he was going to be given the true opportunity to start next year here at USC. So clearly going to go look in the portal for another opportunity. There's been a lot of quarterbacks in the portal. Most of them have signed. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands. I think the 3 teams to really watch for right here is one's going to be Oregon. Everyone will obviously absolutely hate that. That would be like a brutal turn of events, a great heel turn, if you will. If he were to go to Oregon, that will all depend on Dante Moore and if he's deciding to come back. They play tomorrow night against Indiana. So Oregon, if Dante Moore comes back, obviously they're out, but if he's gone, they will be in need of a quarterback there. I believe their backup quarterback entered the portal, so they're desperately in need. I would look at Miami. Obviously, Carson Beck is going to be going to the NFL after this season. They're playing right now and looking like, it's only 3-0, but the way their defense is playing and Ole Miss's offense is playing, looking like they will have a good opportunity to win this game and move on. But I would look at Miami. They recruited Longstreet back when he was in high school. I would look at Ole Miss, another playoff team in here. And, I don't know if Chambliss, honestly, I haven't looked too much into him and what his eligibility will be. If he returns, maybe that's a different story, but depending on that situation, I'd look at that. The real player, though, that I would fully expect to be the most likely landing place is LSU with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin recruited Husan Longstreet when he was at Ole Miss, so obviously the connection is there. Lane Kiffin, for all of his theatrics, is a good quarterback coach, offensive mind. LSU needs a quarterback. We all know the Demon Williams, or by now most of you probably know the Demon Williams of Washington. That is now over. Demon Williams is returning to Washington. They got it figured out or whatever. But when he shockingly decided, or at least said, I don't think it ever was official, but said he was entering the portal after signing his contract, it came out that the big reason was because LSU was throwing a Brinks truck at him to come down to LSU. Now he is off their board. He is off the board. So Sam Leavitt is still available. Obviously, he's someone that visited LSU and is probably right now still the best available QB in terms of a guy that's played a lot. But if he ends up choosing one of these other schools as he's on his tour of visits, I would expect Husan Longstreet to really get a hard look from Lane Kiffin and LSU, which if you're USC, great. If he's going to leave, just don't be in the Big Ten. Don't be on a team that USC plays, because ultimately, I want this guy to succeed. I think we all do. We want it to be here at USC, but we want him to succeed. This isn't like any bad blood. It's a kid that wants to play. We're in a different world of college football where, there's not a lot of patience by anyone, players, coaches, fans, staff, parents. And so, when you want to, see that opportunity to start right away, it probably wasn't going to happen here. Like I said, I believe he would have been allowed to compete. And if he was the better guy, he would start next year. But obviously with Jaden Maiava returning, Whatever you think about Jaden Mayava, the staff clearly sees a lot of potential in him, and the team sees him as their leader and whatnot. So, it's a different dynamic, and he can go into a situation where likely he will look for a spot where he will be the guy from the get-go. Every team says there's going to be a competition, but he will probably go somewhere where, he's clearly the front runner right off the bat, and do that. So, to each their own. I personally, I don't want to get into definitely never ever, you watch the show, I would never ever bash any player, whatever. So that has nothing to do with it. I just personally think, and I've said this before, like, if you're a quarterback, Lincoln Riley is the coach you most want to play for, regardless if you get 1 year or 3 years or half a year. Like, that's the dude. If you want to get to the next level, like, that's who you want to play for. And I just think if I was in his corner in his ear, like, I would say, hey, 1 year is it's a blip. You'll still have 3 years of eligibility. If you really want the full college guard, you could play 3 straight years at USC with the most talented roster this Trojans team has had in over a decade. That would all be waiting for you after a second year of development in the system. I mean, the dude I've said this many times, the dude is all football. He is in the film room all the time. He is after practice every single practice day, one of the last ones that leaves the field. Like, he is the guy you want as a quarterback of a football team. So that none of this is any bad personality traits or anything like that. It really, I think, just comes down to he wasn't going to have what he deemed to be the best opportunity to start this coming season, and that outweighed all the benefits of staying here at USC with Lincoln Riley. So it's unfortunate. Who knows? I mean, this is just me speaking, so don't take this as any reporting. Based on the thing of LSU offering to get Demmett, whether it was from LSU, whether it was from agents, backdoor, whatever it was. I mean, who knows what is even tampering these days. But based on the offer that essentially led Demon Williams into making the decision to go into the portal before obviously restricting and going back, more at it because he had to, he's under contract, it would not shock me if maybe those conversations crept into Husan's circles. And while it was not about NIL, I believe, and while I think USC, based on what I heard, had a pretty dang good NIL package for him, even if he was going to be a backup, not just competitive, like to be a 19-year-old backup, like that's life-changing money that he was going to be getting. But if you're double or tripling that and the opportunity to start right off the bat with really no competition, it's hard to say no to that. I don't fault that. So, as I'm just praising Miami now, Ole Miss just goes on like a 70-yard run, take the lead, ironically. So, unfortunate. I'll end it with this. Me, I'm always going to be positive. As much as I loved Husan Longstreet, as much as I loved his high school tape, and I watched him live at Centennial.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, and even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/secure. Protect yourself now at aura.com/secure.
I loved his work ethic, everything about him. I thought he had the absolute potential to be one of the great USC quarterbacks. So as much as that is a bummer, as much as this is a loss, like let's not pretend it's not a loss. But all that being said, the quarterback position is not one that I'm overly worried about. We knew going into this year, even if Husan was here, it was going to be Jaden Mayava's team. As I said in the beginning, I believe there could have absolutely been competition and Husan could have won that job. But as of right now, January 8th, this is Jade Maiava's team. So we already kind of knew the expectation at QB going into this season. If Husan beat him out, then boom, hats off, the kid's above where we even expected him to be. But we already had the expectation. So it wasn't like it's going to affect this year, right? So I think everyone needs to settle down on that because I think there's probably a lot of people freaking out probably. This doesn't change anything for this season based on our expectation right now on January 8th. Now on the future, and I've said this before, Jonas Williams is a baller. Freshman quarterback. So they're no different than they were last year, right? Because everyone's like, oh man, you want a freshman as a backup? That's what they were this year or in 2025. Jade Maiava, first time starter, really, with true freshman Husan Longstreet as a backup. And they brought in Sam Heward to be kind of a veteran guy, camp arm. Not just camp arm, but practice arm, veteran guy. So this coming season will be no different. You got Jade Maiava back again, more experienced. And then you got a true freshman backup in Jonas Williams. So this year's there's no change in expectation this season. And then you go into 27 with Jonas Williams now as a true sophomore or a redshirt freshman, most likely. And you're basically where Husan kind of wanted to be this year. He'll take over as a redshirt freshman after 1 year of development behind Jade Maiava and Lincoln Riley's system. And the expectation should be exactly what it was for Husan Longstreet. I think Jonas Williams has the ability to be an unbelievable quarterback. The dude holds every record in the state of Illinois. Passing yards, touchdowns. His tape is unbelievable. The athleticism, the arm talent. He's a really talented kid. Not saying Husan Longstreet wasn't. Husan was a 5-star, 4th-ranked quarterback in his class. Jonas Williams, by the rankings, is lower, right? I think he's 13th, is like the industry rankings, 4-star. But you put on his tape, and he just fits this system so well. So I'm not worried about the future because I'm really high on Jonas Williams, and I'm not worried about this season because our expectation hasn't changed at all from what it was 10 minutes ago, based on what we knew. So it's an unfortunate event, an unfortunate transfer. I don't think it will have a long-term impact just because I think the next guy up is really good also. Now, what USC is going to have to do now is they're going to have to add a quarterback in the portal as a veteran. And this is not like a guy to compete with Maiava. It's not even a guy probably to compete with Jonas Williams. But they're definitely going to have to add a backup out there that has probably played some football to at least be in the room, right? So a Sam Heward-like guy. And maybe I'll look at some of those down the line. You know, you have, like I said, the Oregon backup that entered, Austin Novosad. He could be a guy that comes in. Younger guy, redshirt sophomore, but maybe he's a guy that comes in to be that kind of other camp arm. J.C. French, a guy. You could go, I'm just kind of looking down the list here at other options as kind of other lower tier guys that can come and at least be an arm in the building. So I'll look at that maybe a little bit more, but just want to get on here quick as this just broke. Drop your comments. I'm sure there's a lot of upset people. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, were really excited just at the prospects of Husan, and probably B, thought he should be the starter going into this season. The quarterback's the one position, not just the one, but definitely the position I'm going to trust Lincoln Riley the most. So as of now, if he thought, hey, Jaden's the leader, you can beat him out, but you got to go prove it. I'm not just giving it to you. I'm going to side with Coach Riley on that. So let me know your thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe. This will be a trending story for a while. We'll see how it persists. We'll see here where he ends up. Like I said, LSU would be my probably most likely landing spot, but Miami's certainly a player. Ole Miss will certainly be a player, and depending on what happens with Dante Moore in Oregon, they can certainly be a player as well. So we will keep you all locked in with that. So yeah, hit that subscribe. And unfortunate, but hey, the show rolls on, we roll on, and we look for what's next ahead. Appreciate you, family, as always. Fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose Jade Mayava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in 10, they'll match you that $10, so now you're sitting at 20 to play with. But also, right now, for any new users, no deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB, and now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family, and when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.